Very good morning, everybody.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good morning,
Morning,
ma'am.
good
Ma'am.
morning, good morning. And we have an excellent session coming up today, and I hope all of you are geared up. Very
Yes,
good
ma'am.
morning to you, Abhishek. I can see that you have joined.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. How are you?
And good, good. And it's so wonderful to. I'm seeing you after 8 years, I think, more than
I
8 years,
know.
I think.
Thank you.
Close to almost 10 years, I think we have not seen you. And great to see you here, and wonderful opportunity for all of us. And we are looking forward to a great, enriching session, all of us.
Yeah. I think we got a good 1 hour setup, and I got a lot to share with the students, with you, ma'am, and with the team, and how how got my journey and how in these interesting times. So we are making things work, and we're having that attitude. We talk about IAM, and we're carrying this on here.
Yeah. Great, Abhishek. Wonderful to have a student like you, actually. And I can see Kushal is there, and he must be very excited to speak to you. Uh, and without much ado, I would like to start.
Hi, Abhishek.
Hello, Abhishek.
Students, please mute yourselves.
Very nice to meet you, sir, as well. After a long time,
I know, I know. How are things?
things are staying calm, and we're taking it one step at a time, and that's how things are right now.
Yeah, so
Um,
you finally picked up the Californian accent.
it's slowly but it's getting in.
Chalo, badhiya. And
So, because
you also seem to have put on a bit of weight. You are looking nice now. You used to
Yeah,
be very slim and very lean in college. Now you're
not
looking nice and
yeah.
healthy.
I,
I'm not I'm not getting to do my cardio. I think that's one of those. Yeah, and
No, I'm
I
not saying
think
you have put on weight in that sense. I'm saying you're looking healthier. Used to be you used to be rake thin when you were in
I
college.
can't see too much of a change, actually. I,
Yeah.
I am seeing the same Abhishek that I've seen about 10 years back. Not much change.
I'll take that as a
2011
compliment.
was it?
Thanks,
You
ma'am.
graduated from Napier 2011, right?
2012, yeah.
2011, ma'am.
Okay, 9 years, yeah.
Yeah, nine
Yeah,
years. Yes,
great.
And you spent your final year in Edinburgh, yeah.
I was in Edinburgh. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
Kushal,
also
I think it's time we start off.
yeah.
We have more than 120 participants here. And very good morning once again, Abhishek. And I would like to start off with a brief introduction about a very, very illustrious journey which Abhishek has had. Actually, he joined IAM and thereon moved on to do the final year at Edinburgh Napier University in UK. And while studying there, he has worked in McDonald Holyrood Hotel there. And after another years of experience in F&B as a F&B manager there, he has moved on finally to US. And therein, after a stint with Marriott Hotels, he has moved to club management with Amarillo Club. And finally, last year, I think, as a general manager, he moved on to California. And then currently, he is the director of City Club in San Francisco. And let me just tell you, students, uh, Abhishek had been an all rounder as a student, not just academically, but in extracurricular activities and sports. He has been a tremendous, enthusiastic student. In Napier, he has the unique distinction of receiving the overall Best Performing Student Award in 2012. And I remember some very exciting news coming up as you represented the hockey team of Edinburgh
Napier.
Napier
Yeah,
University.
I played for the Napier University, and we traveled all over England and Scotland. I think it was one of the best experiences in my life.
Yeah. And with that, over to you, Abhishek. You can start with your journey and your experiences, and then we will move on to different aspects of today's discussion.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for having me here. I think it's a great honor to be with everybody here this morning, guys. Good morning, students. I believe it's the second year and the third year students, so this is a perfect setting, and I think it's ideal for me to share my knowledge here at this platform. Um, so I was like one of you. I joined IAM after taking that discussion with parents what to do after the 12th class. In India you have that big discussion in the household, and finally decided to join IAM. I am from a very small town, Mussoorie, in Uttarakhand, and I came over to Calcutta. It's a big city as compared to Mussoorie. It was eye changing. It was big for me, and from there on I indulged in the IAM values, which are given by Ma'am Chaudhary and Mr. Chatterjee, and then picked up things. And in my last year, I was privileged. My father uh, and family arranged a lot of money for me to go to Edinburgh and study, and I took that as an opportunity. And one of those opportunities I was very lucky to get on. Um, so went to Edinburgh and graduated in 2011. And while in Europe, when you live there as a student, the life is, you got to support yourself financially. You got to do a little bit of part-time job. In our industry, it's perfect because we get hands-on experience while we're doing a part-time job and we are studying. So it worked out perfectly, and I stayed on with the same hospitality chain and made my career with them. Um, and then they recruited me. I graduated in 2011, and I did every opportunity that was available in the university. It's a big university. It gives you experience. It teaches you things that no textbook will teach you. It was 15,000 students from all over the world in Edinburgh Napier, and it gave me the confidence for the next phase, how to set my career. Um, as ma'am was saying, I used to play hockey in the university team, and to get to mingle with the people and be part of them, not just on the field but just outside the field, just the hanging out, just the socializing. You pick up on a lot of things that carries with you a lot of time in your career and your personal life as well. So I was lucky enough to do that, and then I started working for McDonald Hotels, as ma'am was mentioning, and they promoted me and they sent me to a golf resort, and that's where I was introduced to golf, and I was a big part of the team that we did the Open 2013. It's a big deal. It's the fourth largest sporting event in the world, and I was very proud to be part of it, and we did great things there. I came back to India in 2013, and then 2014 I came to the US, and I was working for Marriott. I started with Marriott here in the US, and then I switched over to private club management. Now, club management, I always wanted to be in, because when I saw the golf side in Scotland, I knew the country club business is big in the US. That's why I wanted to come here and take my career on that level, on that note. And some of you will figure that out as you go along. And IAM gives you the great platform and great values right now, what you need to start off your career. Some of you will make the change when you need to, according, and make the adjustments when you need to. And that's something that you have to figure out. um, so I came to the US and I started working in Marriott, and then when I got an opportunity at the right time, I switched to private club business, and I started a food and beverage manager at a private club. And most certainly in the next 3 years, I became the general manager. I was the youngest GM of a private club in the US when I was 28 years old. It was a great opportunity for me, and great organization. And I think my leadership did the club did achieve good heights. I think we did great things. We took the club to the next level, which it needed, and I'm very proud about that. And just recently, I got an offer to join the Olympic Club, which is again a great club. Uh, 1860 is this club around from, and we are one of the biggest and largest private organization in the country club business in this country. We have about 11,000 members, two clubhouses, three golf courses, eight tennis courts, a, a very thriving club, I would say so. And when I got the opportunity to come here, then I certainly did capture that. And we have a lineup of things that we need to do here at the club, and with certainly with my leadership and uh, our general manager and chief operating officer and the board, I think we have a US Women's Open next year. We have the PGA Cup, we have the Ryder Cup, and that's all hosted in the club where I work. So it's great time to join the club. As I say, I know the current circumstances don't tell you that, but I think I'm very excited to be here in San Francisco. Um, yeah, so that's what my journey is, ma'am.
Abhishek, uh, can you just tell us briefly about how managing a club is different from managing a hotel? And what made you actually take this decision that because you've studied hotel management, even in also, although we understand club is an extension of the hospitality services, but you took this decision quite early to branch out into the clubs. So
Yeah.
what prompted you, and how is it different from managing a hotel? And can you just also throw a little light on the revenue model on which the clubs operate?
Yes, ma'am. So let's talk about why I made the switch and what's different. Um, in a private club, you have if you have a certain membership, that's the only customers you're gonna get. I'm a people person. I like to connect with people. In hotels, you have everybody's your customer. You can have different customer on the day. So it's certainly talking to the same people and taking care of them and providing that private service that I do from my leadership perspective. I think that's what I liked, and that's what I wanted to get to. Most certainly as well, in private clubs, if you get to know your clientele and if you do well, they reward you. Whether it be the board that you're reporting to, whether the general manager, you do it sets out. In a hotel, it's a changing goal. It's a changing goal, and I think my style of service and my style of leadership, I think, was suited more in private clubs. Why That's why I made the change. The revenue model, um, the dues. Private clubs make money on dues, dues, and dues. We don't even try make money on food and beverage. When we have all these restaurants in our club, we have 5 restaurants. We don't we subsidize on the restaurant because that is an amenity to the membership. We make money on dues. I think that's the basic model. All other amenities such as food and beverage, or we're talking about um, golf course or whatever, dues is what we look for. We try and retain members. Our service is committed to retention rather than getting new customers in, if that makes sense. In a hotel, you look always looking for new business. In private club, you're not. You are always retaining the members that you have and making them happy. You retain members, you have a thriving club that we have right now.
Um, how you have worked in the food and beverage area, both in UK, I think, as a general manager, and even before that, even in clubs in US, you have handled food and beverage. You have also had some experience of working in India.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, so how would you compare these industries? How do you think the Indian operations is different from that in US and UK?
Yeah. Um, so it's a good question because I feel like that's I've been very lucky to be a part of in all 3 continents. The food and beverage industry is changing world over as we speak right now. In the US, because such a large market we have, and casual dining is more proliferating more and more as we talk about these days. Is the trend. New bistros rather than fine dining is on a down low as we talk about in the US right now. Bistros is on the rise here right now. In the UK, it's also the same. In India, uh, in India, I think it's interesting because in India, the food and beverage industry is very sticking to traditional right now. And when you go to the chain they're also adapting to the new change, but I feel like they're sticking to the basics right now, which in terms of more fine. The US, we don't see that. We have seen a decline of fine restaurants. In ma'am, you'll be surprised, in private clubs you have two. You have a casual restaurant and you always have a fine dining. 65% of the clubs have closed their fine dining restaurants in the last 4 years, because that industry is on a down low right now, because it's the new generation does not want that formal, you know. And that's one of the challenges of the private club business as well. We are not being attracting a lot of millennials, because they don't want to be tied to something. They don't want to sign up for something for the rest of their lifetime, which their parents did, their grandparents did, to a private club like the Tollygunge Club in Calcutta. It's a fabulous club, but if you look at the age group that goes in there, I'm pretty sure it's a more older crowd that has signed up for that. So hence, the fine dining concept is on the down low in the US, and in the UK as well, I would say so. In India, I can't say much, ma'am, because I've not been around. But when I worked there, it was a very very straightforward. Yeah.
Okay, Abhishek, you have been speaking about various F&B operations in the US, bistros and lower, lesser fine dining, and then clubs. So we have many students. We've had many students over the past couple of years, and even now, who prefer doing the internships on the J1 visa. So it's currently under suspension, but whenever it happens again. So for the 5-month training that you all undertook during your second year of studies, so many students opt for internships in the US, and many of them get placed in these standalone restaurants, mostly working behind the ranges. Some of them also get options in F&B service. But overall, like how is the food and beverage service scenario in the US? You gave an example of bistros. What are the various kind of outlets, and what is now propagating much? So about fine dining, you'll still have hotels, I think, who have fine dining restaurants, and you have n number of resorts which have golf courses attached. So that's a very plus point for the locals there. Like if you have a golf course, you want to become a member, because golf is a big thing in the US. So how does one kind of try and establish a career if he wants to be associated with F&B in the US? So what are the options that they have, and what kind of
Yeah.
growth can they expect? So if you could throw
Yeah.
some light on that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So if you're looking at the food and beverage, I think it's a great time, and I think it's a. I started my career in food and beverage, and food and beverage. If you get to the food and beverage, that's the food and beverage managers are more likely to become a general manager than a chef and a housekeeping director is. Let me put it this way. You know, that ladder goes through that way. If you start in food and beverage, and if you look at the US or the UK, I think it's a great choice, because even though I say the fine dining is on a low, even though these bistros and these, you know, specialty food, Korean or whatever it is, they are on the rise right now. You get to that. I think that's the demand right now. I think even high end bistros I'm talking about. I'm talking about the high end Michelin star restaurants or whatever it is. You get into those and you pick up your skills from there, and I think you run away with that. I again, my point of saying that fine dining is on a low, it does not mean that it's dead. It's still there, but I think the new concept is trending in, and people want to go to live kitchens. People want to go to places where they want to sit around and the chef is cooking in the middle for you, teppanyaki or whatever it is, you know. So those cool concepts are emerging as we speak, and I think it's a great time. And especially for J1 visa, if you are interested in that, and if you thought about it, I would highly recommend you to look into this, because it again, J1 visas in country clubs or resorts where the students have been placed in the past or will be placed in the future, I think it's a great experience. I cannot emphasize enough how valuable those experiences are for you and your career. Yeah.
And what about the options in kitchen? Like many of them get place for culinary exposure, and we've heard that the students do not have too much of an experience that they would gain in a kitchen in a hotel in India, because here you have to do everything, learn about all this kind of stuff. And there in the US, you have a lot of facilitations in the form of like pre-packed or pre-cut stuff, and so you just have to kind of take it out from the deep freeze and thaw it and heat it and then grill it and give it off. So the mise en place that that is there is been taken out of the kitchen operations, mostly because of automated services. So that is one thing. And plus all these meat packaging industries and all these veg cutting industries, do they also employ people who have culinary skills so that they learn the basics of how to cut and how to pack and how to chop and stuff like that? For your
Yeah.
club, I'm sure you must be getting a lot of your supplies from these packaged food divisions. So how does it really work? Because in India,
Yeah.
that concept is not at all there. I mean, here they
Yes.
want everything to start from scratch and fresh, right?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that. At least I lived in West Texas, and West Texas is the beef capital of the world. And I was lucky enough to tour some of the packing plants and became good friends with some of the general managers at the Tyson plant where they're cutting. And I know in India it's the same, but about 5,000 cows a day, and big processing plants right now. Yes, Mr. Chatterjee, yes, I'm not sure. I would say so that they're looking for culinary students to do that job because right now the labor in the US, because you have all these frozen vegetables and meats because of the labor. They want to cut on labor in every sector in the hospitality industry. I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure if they employ students. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but
Okay, but then in your kitchens and stuff, so the people who work in the kitchen, so what kind of skills they need to have largely? I mean, do they all get to interact with customers? Do they all work on open kitchens, or
yes.
how does it, and ranges? I think that's the concept coming up right now.
Yes, we are, and as we speak, we have a renovation project starting in October if everything goes through. We have a renovation project where kitchen is more open, the staff interact with the customers more openly, cooking in front of you, and that's what we want to demonstrate as well through our services. To answer your question, yes, that's a
Yeah,
concept that's coming around,
yeah.
and yes. Mhm.
Okay, so kitchen is now people like our students, what we advise them nowadays is that it's important that they also have these people skills. Earlier, what used to happen was if you're a kitchen guy, you're only worried about your tools and choppings and cooking and stuff. You would not want to be, someone who is good in communication and stuff. But it is important, I think, nowadays for a kitchen person also to be very, very well conversant with topics of discussion because he's going to be interacting with people, right?
I
So
think it's
people skills
important
is
for
important.
everybody, not just kitchen, Mr. Chatterjee. It's important for everybody. Let me put it to you
Mhm.
this way, guys. The most important thing you should be working right now is your communication skills, because I cannot stress enough how important they are. You choose your kitchen as a career, you use F&B, even you choose housekeeping, you choose front office, kitchen. Your communication skills will be important everywhere. Let's say, I'll give you an example. If you say housekeeping, why do I need communication skills? Well, you have to interact with your subordinates, you have to report to a boss, and if you want to succeed, if you want to move up, then you have to move up the ladder. And when you have to present to the general manager, you need good communication skills. What to present to him? You have 5 minutes in the morning meeting and you have to give him a spill what's going on in your department in 5 minutes. So I feel communication skills are very, very important. Doesn't matter what your specialization is. I cannot stress enough.
Abhishek, my the next question to you is that globally we have been badly hit by this pandemic. There is a universal talk of economic recession. Hotels in India are doing pretty badly because people don't venture out as of now, although hotels have started opening. Uh, so business has not yet picked up. What is happening in US with respect to hotels, and how are you protecting your revenue model? How are you protecting your revenue? I understand you collect from dues, so it's a fixed membership. You know that this is going to be coming in, whatever the case is. But I think the hotels are a little different, as it's a very open ended market. So, can you just throw a little light on this?
Yes. So yeah, I mean, hospitality industry as a whole has suffered. I mean, we all know tremendously, and hotels has definitely taken the hardest hit because people are very reluctant to travel here in the US as well. The airline has started off right now taking off. The airline industry has people have started taking off, but it's nowhere near where it used to be. Let me put it to you this way: uh, big chain hotels, Hiltons and Marriotts, and all of them, they have come out with strict guidelines, what protocols they're going to do. And in our club we have hotel rooms, and I've been following closely with Marriott is doing, because I think they have the most best practices, because I've worked for them for a year, and I've been closely following their protocols right now. um, Hotels is suffering, man, and it's nowhere near what the occupancy was. About 18 to 17% was the occupancy here in California last week when I checked. And as far as the private clubs are concerned, I think joining a private club is not just joining. It's part of being a stewardship. You join a club for, you have an equity in it. So I feel we have, in this pandemic, I think the private clubs are doing better as compared to the hotel industry. We are having the dues, we have people on payroll, we had to furlough some staff, but majority of the staff is on payroll. And as we are opening amenities, it's becoming easier for us as we go. But the hotel industry has taken a very big hit, as we all know. And things are things are opening up in the US. Depends which state you talk about, because we're opening one thing, we're closing one thing, then the governor comes next day, let's not open this, let's close the bar, let's open the restaurant, it's going to be outdoor, it's going to be indoor. So the situation is very fluid. And it's a changing goal as we speak here, for us and everybody else.
Right. Uh, the students who were passing out this year, so they have had job offers, and that has been put on hold. And currently, they have some time in hand. How would you advise them to prepare themselves in this time, with a view to how to utilize this and go for better opportunities when things open?
Okay, that's a great point, ma'am. So what we have done here, and what one of the things that I really like that I've used in my career, and I highly recommend everybody, that especially the third years, to use this, and is this word I call strategic planning. Okay, so I'll give you a little brief what that means, and maybe this will guide you in the right direction. So I do a lot of strategic planning, and that's one of my specialty. A strategic plan is a framework for making long-term decisions, and I think that's what you need to think about it. Three things that strategic plan does: it does not solve a problem. You know, it they increase the chance of a success. They increase chance of your success. You need to think about that. You need to think about the strategic plan. In my opinion, it's outward focused. It's focused on plans that addresses the concern of the organization, of you and the customer. So you are the operator here. So think about that. And it's pretty straightforward. Keep it simple, don't complicate it, and keep it simple. Put a strategic plan. And in the meantime, when you're going to go back, and if you if you take the job offers they have if you have at hand right now, or you take a new one, you're going to have to adapt to the new. And it's going to be important, what is the new normal. We all have to start thinking about what is the new following, and what is the new normal for us. um, we're thinking about what is our temporary policies we are following. you know we're thinking about how safety measures we are doing for the guests and the employees. We're thinking about facilities, what we are changing. We're thinking about what materials and equipment we're needing. We're thinking about what is the liability concern. We're thinking about how do we communicate that to the staff, and how do we communicate that to the guest. How do they know what's going on? We're thinking about financial concern that's coming with this normal new. So keep in mind all of this. But again, think about the strategic plan that you want to do for yourself. Do you want to keep this? What do you have a job offer on your hand right now? Or do you want to play the waiting game? But with the current scenario, I would say, if you have something on your plate, just take it right now. That is my recommendation. Who knows what the future is? It's all fluid right now. Game is changing every single day, and that is my recommendation.
All right, Abhishek, I just wanted to take a little detour from what we have been talking. We wanted to speak about I mean, if you could go back because to your college life and speak about experiences and how how IM has made differences, and how studying on a UK study program has made a difference as compared to what you'd have been had you not taken the UK study option. I'm not talking of moving on to the UK and doing it from there. I mean, it's your batchmates who studied on the Napier program here in Kolkata as well. So how they have fared compared to those who were did not take up this offer of studying on a UK study program, how beneficial it was, or the pros and cons. So your experiences, and what advice would you give our final year and our second year students about the study options that they have for BA hospitality from a renowned university in the UK? Because we do tell them that ours is perhaps the only college, we and IHM, the Smart Colleges, that have this collaboration for the past 25 years now with UK universities, which has held our students in very good stead. And all alumni who have studied on the UK study program have been doing wonderfully well all across the globe. So the benefits, although it's a bit of hard work, which students would like to shy away from, all the courseworks and assignments, but we tell them that this is what you have come to college for, to study and to spend time in dedicating time in doing some research work and doing well in your studies. So how do you think it is
Yeah,
important, the study program that we offer for the UK
yeah,
from the UK universities, and how has that impacted your life and your batchmates?
for sure. Um, uh, let me let me say, I all thanks to my dad, because he made it possible for me to go to the UK. And when I went to the UK, it was a game changer. It opened so many eyes that I did not know even existed. It just, you know, because it put me in a situation where gave me a great platform for success. It made my uh, career on the level that I needed to portray myself, and use all the skills, use all the resources what is around me, use all, because you go to a big university like Edinburgh, Napier, they have so much to offer. It's not even funny. You have so many resources, you get so much knowledge, you get so much connections, and it's up to you how to use it. You can be confined in your bubble and stay the way you are, and that's fine. But then you get an opportunity like this that, you know, not a lot of people get. Let's face it, guys. Let's talk about this. How many people get an opportunity to do like that? Make the most of it. And it has helped me tremendously for for the opportunities that I got further down the line because of that. And consequently, it was a snowball effect, Mr. Chatterjee, if I would say so. Because, you know, I went to the UA. It boosted my confidence to the level that I did not know it even existed. You know, I was a little shy when I was in IAM. Let's face it. And we started first year, second year, and I remember second year I had a moment where I was not sure if I would want to do this. But you know, when I went to the UK, and even in India, I was coordinating myself, and it gave me a big rise. And especially now, when you have the post study work visa back, I think it should be another incentive for the students to seriously think about going to the UK, and considering going to Edinburgh, Napier. I think it's a great opportunity. I would highly recommend anybody who has an opportunity, who has the resources to do it. If it's a little stretch for you to do it, think about it, because it's gonna be worth it at the end of the day. And with the post study work, there is no question in mind that you'll financially you'll pay back what you made. I got it all over in one year and 2 months. I had everything paid off. Thank the God, thank dad, and moved on from there. You know, so I would highly recommend, guys, if you have an opportunity, if you have resources, if you're half thinking about it, push that button. That this is the time, this is the opportunity you need. You know, I took it, I took my chance, and here I am.
Okay, how did the curriculum differ? Let's if you're not talking about where you studied from, say how does it differ? Like the study program of the experience of studying on an international degree program vis-a-vis studying on an Indian degree or a diploma program. Does it add value? And if it does, what is the long-term benefit? What is the gain? Because the short-term investment that students make is just about 2 semesters, about 9 months that you have
Yeah,
actually got to study and do some hard work and spend a bit of money. But
yeah,
is it worth the investment?
yeah. It's definitely worth the investment. And I don't think it's about that 2 semesters, Mr. Chatterjee. It's way more than 2 semesters. Don't just look at it 2 semesters, guys. If you It's not about that. It's about giving you a platform and opportunity to to know the world, to talk to people that you've not to boost your confidence, to get your communication to that level, to learn new things you've not, and work in an environment, put yourself in those uncomfortable shoes. That teach you a lot, guys. Believe me, I've been there and I've done it. And life, putting an academic aside, the life experience that I learned from the experience of going to Napier and studying there helped me a lot. Of course, the academic did, and I was the best student of the year. I had the best grades. Of course, I mean,
Yeah, you were the class medal winner. I remember.
yeah,
We have those
yeah,
pictures. We'll show it to you in a bit.
yeah. I got every award which was there. I mean, but apart from the academic side, the other part of it, that it's not in the textbook, it's invaluable to me. It's invaluable.
I
Absolutely.
think it's the exposure. The exposure which you cannot just talk in terms of textbook, or it cannot be quantified.
Yeah,
Any person that you meet, any interaction that you have, that adds, that itself is a lesson. And that I think is invaluable. Uh,
I'll tell you. Yes, ma'am. I'll tell you a little while you're on this topic, because I was in Chicago, and I was in managers conference. I was 29 years old, and I was a club manager. And an average age of a club manager in America is 65 years old. I'm a 20-year-old in a room of all these guys, and they're looking at me like, "What is this kid doing here?" And we are in a 2-day conference, and very high level conference. We're talking about, I mean, half of the things is going over my head. I'm sitting there, and I, with the conference finishing, we are the Medina Country Club, and Medina is, it's the best club in US. And I'm sitting there, and I started talking to this gentleman right next to me, and we started making acquaintances, and then shared we share a coffee and we share lunch, and next thing you know, he's my mentor now, and he referred me to this Olympic Club job, and he's my mentor, and I can pick up a call any day, and I can call him, and I didn't even know who he was, and he's been a club manager for 35 years. He's hands down one of the best managers they've had in the industry, and he's my mentor, and he highly recommended me to take this job. So again, one thing leads to another, guys. Just an example, as ma'am is saying, there's something that's not in the textbooks, and you will know by example.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we move on further, we have a small snapshot prepared for the achievements which Abhishek has had, the little photos that we got in our store. And there's a little bit of screen sharing for all of you to see what exactly he did. We are extremely proud of him.
These are pictures of Abhishek being awarded the Dr. Subarna Bose Trophy for being the class medal winner at Edinburgh Napier University.
Yeah, I look skinny. Yeah, I know. Looks quite
This is from 2000, August 20, and these are your faculty and staff from Napier
yeah,
University. Ross ma'am, Ron Scott sir. This is Ross madam, yeah.
yeah, gross man.
And this is you with your trophies and your scrolls and your medals. And that's you with the Dr. Subarna Bose Trophy.
Yes,
This is
Dr.
at
Subbu.
the Craig Lockhart campus in Edinburgh.
Mhm.
Thank
So
you for that, Amarnath. So, does that bring back some memories?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. A long time. Yes,
I
yes.
know. So we always say that you were one of our stars. And let me tell you, students, like when Abhishek joined IAM, he was one of those really, inconspicuous persons in year one. Hey, hi, ek koi hai Abhishek naam ka ladka hai, theek hai, types. And then by the time he came into year two, he had changed almost. He had got about 10 shades better than what we had thought he would be. So he obviously had a lot of potential. And then he realized that what was good for him by the end. Where did you train, by the way, Abhishek, in year two? Which hotel was that?
In JP.
The JP
JP.
Palace in Agra, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah. So that in the summer batch, right? Or did
Yes,
you go
sir.
for the winter?
Summer batch.
Summer batch. Okay, yeah. So that is where he trained, and then and he always had a liking for F&B. Always, I think you
Yes,
specialized
sir.
in F&B as
Uh,
well.
F&B, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to
So
share a little.
I remember we our events took a big hit, when he decided to go to UK because we knew that this guy would take a lot of load during the food fest and all. So
so
he's come to UK, so who's going to handle it?
we missed your expertise in year three here, but I'm
You had
sure the
Murtaza and them.
university.
Yeah, yeah, you had.
But I'm
So
sure Edinburgh benefited.
let me share a little story with the students.
Yeah, sure.
How in year two, so I used to live at the hostel as Rajarat, you know. So we used to walk in, and I was so this attendance that we have to make 95% attendance, otherwise we're not going to be allowed to sit in the exam. And we were very strict about this. So one day I was standing in the assembly, and Ma'am Piali Bor, she was taking the attendance, and she called my name, and she told me to stand aside, and I was like, all right, here we go. And let everybody go, and I'm standing there, and then she was like, just stand there, don't come near me. And she said, what's on your face? I said, what is it? I just started looking. She said, you have chicken pox, you need to go home. I said, ma'am, I have to take a train, it's going to take a day and a half. I don't think I can go home. She's like, no, you're going to get everybody sick, I need you to go home like now. Go outside the gate, wait there, and I'm going to get somebody. So she started talking, and she started getting, I went outside the gate, and I started crying. You know why? Because I thought I was not going to be allowed to sit in the exam, because I'm going to take so much time off that I'm not going to be start allowed to sit in the exam. And that's why so I always I look back at that story, and I think that's the kind of attitude I want to keep every day, because sometimes at work we get so flustered that we read sometimes we get hit a roadblock, and then I look back at that day that I had so much passion for this industry and passion for what I do. I always think about that story every single time.
Yeah, I know.
I think
The,
Renukut has given me a lot of stars actually over the years. And I think I looked at that place as, getting all my stars from. Kalyani has been there. Then there is a lot of people who have come from that place. And Abhishek was a all-rounder, as I said. He has taken part in every activity that was there, whether it was in IAM and whether it was in Napier University. And I think that also contributes a lot to making you all-rounded. It enhances your personal skills. Again, out of textbook learning. So that is very, very important.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, ma'am. I've never been the most academic students. I have to say that. I don't know how I got the medals. Still,
just got lucky, I think.
but I've never been that academic. But I do want to say that whenever I joined this industry, I always wanted to be that social interaction and communication to the guests and the staff, and make that rapport with them. So and that has always been a good strong passion that I have found. So communication again comes back to the same point, guys. Everybody hearing on this call, students, please don't underestimate communication with read the news. When you're going to talk to somebody, you need to know what you're talking about. So that's one of the things I picked up from IAM, reading the news, and I still carry that right now as I am right now. I mean, a lot of I'm just telling you, all these things that you're learning at IAM, keep them as habits. When you start third year, you're going out, keep them as habits, and in the long term they're going to certainly help you. Yeah.
I think now,
Abhishek,
Kushal, if you have any more questions, otherwise I'll open it up to the students to
yeah,
ask.
yeah. One question, Abhishek, before we open it up for the students. I would just like you to give a brief overview about your typical day at the club that you manage. Because what time is it now? It must be about 11:15 in the night on Wednesday
Yeah,
night there, right?
it's 11:15. Yeah.
11:15 on Wednesday night. So
Yeah.
and a typical day for you, and how the F&B and restaurant and the kitchen boys, what kind of shift timings they have, so, and when do you
Yeah,
open, and yeah.
I think that's a good question. Well, let me tell you this. So I took this job in San Francisco. I moved on the 10th of March, and 3 days later, the whole city went into a shelter in place lockdown.
Hmm.
So I've only seen 3 days of normal operation at the club, and here I am making reopening plans when I've not seen what a normal day looks like. But anyways, um, let me tell you what a normal day looked like for me when I was the general manager at my previous club. So I used to go to work at I used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I used to go to the gym from 5:30 to 7:30. I used to leave my home at 8, be at the club by 8:30. Um, I used to walk the club. I used to walk my property for at least 1 hour, interact with the staff till 9:30. That would happen. And if I had a board meeting that day, that would start at 10 o'clock with the board members. I would prepare for that. If not, that I would sit at my desk for an hour, and from hour till 12 o'clock, from 12 o'clock, and then 12 o'clock till 2 o'clock is lunchtime. I'll be walking around the club, talking to people, interacting with the staff, members, guests, everybody. And 3 o'clock, I'll sit down again at the desk. I can't sit at the desk for too long, and I just can't. I have to be around and about. 3 o'clock again. I sit at the desk till 5:30. Interact with the staff more, talk to people, shake hands, have any business meeting, dinner. I usually would schedule dinner lunches at that time, about 6 o'clock, 6 to 7, and then call it a day at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. That's my normal typical day.
Okay, good. Thanks, Abhishek.
Yes,
Students,
sir.
can you now take over the floor and ask questions of whatever you might want to ask about Abhishek's career so far, about what anything else that you wish to know about club management or current situation here in India or in the US, whatever. Please ask.
Kushal sir, can I advise? Can I give 2 points on club management? How?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, I know I joined IAM and we were taught the basics of hotel management, but I feel like you are getting a knowledge, you're getting basics to run any kind of hospitality business, in my opinion. And I feel like use that opportunity. You guys will figure out as you go on your career. Do you want to stay in a hotel? Do you want to do a club business? Do you want to do a nightclub business? Do you want to manage a fast food restaurant? Do you want to? There is a student from IAM. He's an area director for Domino's Pizza in the UK right now. He's doing very well, you know. So again, you will make that decision for yourself, but find a passion in the first 3 or 4 years and stick to it. I would recommend. As far as the club business is concerned, I felt the club business is very rewarding, um, not just from a financial perspective, but it's also from a social perspective. All club members are high profile people, and you get to interact with them. You get the best of amenities. You are around the best of amenities. And as club staff, you get to use some of the facilities when you can. So I think it's a rewarding career. I think I get to travel a little bit, and I think I've liked it so far. So I would, if anybody's interested, reach out to me, and I'll guide you more in club business. And I think it's a great path to choose if you do wish to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek. Students, please, questions if you have any.
Don't all speak at once.
Or has Abhishek answered everything that you wanted to ask? Please
And
ask, students, come on.
Tushar, unmute yourself and ask.
Good morning, sir. My name is Tushar Mukhopadhyay and I'm from second year.
Good morning.
So my question to you is, other than the F&B department and food production department, can you give us some idea about what are the hospitality departments in a club?
So we have the food and beverage offering. The amenities that we have include golf, tennis, food and beverage. In terms of banquets, we have restaurants, we have casual, we have the snack bar on the course, we have the pool, we have all of that. If you are looking to be, and I'm sure that when you've been taught that you want to be leaders and managers of the future, um, here's the deal. You're going to be managing everything. It's whether it be a restaurant, banquet, snack bar, casual snack bar. Every club is different, every organization is different, every hotel is different, everybody has all kind of different things going on. As far as the club that I'm working in, we have a very casual snack bar. People just go because it's a big workout facility. We have 3,000 lockers, we have 11,000 members, we have 11 floors of workout facility, we have snack bar where people just come, grab a smoothie and go. Then we have a beer bar where people finish up game of basketball and it's packed. We go through kegs of beer. We go through 4 kegs of beer a night. So it depends. There is different kind of outlets. Different cities require different kind of outlets. Different clubs have different culture. Some clubs are golf oriented. They want a golf snack bar. They want, it's all different. But from your perspective, I think it's managing the food and beverage business as the same. Some same values apply to everything. Good service, good customer service, fast service, all the kind of good stuff. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give us a bit of an idea about the hierarchy in a club management arena, sir?
In the club business, or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Club
yeah.
business. Sir.
So the club is obviously in the top. You have the members own the club. We have 11,000. It sounds crazy. 11,000 people own that club, and then you have the board of directors. We have 11 people board right now, and then we have our CEO, general manager, Mr. Musil, and then obviously we have 11 executive staff, and I'm one of those 11 executive staff, and then we have about 600 employees under us, which includes food and beverage managers. I have 4 or 5 food and beverage managers. I have banquet managers. There's a whole hierarchy under all of us. Yeah, there's 600 of us, staff under us. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other student?
Sir, I have a question. I'm Orgodit from third year. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, I would like to ask that after this means recently we have faced means still going on this corona and all. So after this means we are going to get job placement and all. So what will be your suggestion? Should we go to hotels or should we look up to this club for job?
I'm not sure what the market is in India right now. I've been following the US more closely, but I would recommend what you have. If you have an offer on the table right now, I would take it. I would not contemplate, because a lot of people have been laid off and the market is very fluid. If you have something, keep working on something on the back end as well to enhance your skills, and start looking at the other thing if that's what you want to do. But if you have something, I would suggest with you stick with it right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And it's also about the passion that you have, whatever your mind wants you to do, your heart. If you want to be a start off a career in hotel and then gradually move on to club management, that's another path you can take also, I think, Abhishek, right?
Yep.
Okay, students, please. Anyone else, if you have questions about Abhishek's life, about what he did in IAM, about his fun and frolic days in IAM, perhaps apart from academics, or in the UK, anything, please feel
Khadi
free to
Utsav
ask.
was one of the best things we've done. Guys, I'm going to tell you, Khadi Utsav teaches you a lot. That brings that entrepreneurship skill. And we run our businesses, we run the clubs, or if once you one day you'll become a hotel manager, club manager, or whatever it is, you will run the business like an entrepreneur. And those skills that you did in Khadi Utsav, it's going to be the same right there. You're an entrepreneur. Our guideline from our board is you're entrepreneurs and you're running the club. We are running the club on behalf of them, but we are entrepreneurs. And same as for you, when you become food and beverage manager, assistant manager, general managers, entrepreneurship skill is right there, guys. And I think that Khadi Utsav teaches you a lot. So take that as a note and write it somewhere, please.
Sir, this is Tushar again, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have another question.
Go
So
ahead.
my question is, so after this pandemic, sir, is there any change in the safety guidelines that your club is following? If you could
Yeah.
give some light on that, sir, how
Yeah,
you
good
plan to
question.
go forward.
Yeah. So what we've been doing since the club has been closed, and in the last 4 months, we've been planning for reopening, which includes we have a 150-page book that we, for 11 executives, have wrote. 150-page book that is a guiding principle how to reopen our facilities when we reopen, and that's what we've been working on from our homes. And it includes everything from, we've got to follow, the first is the local government and the ordinance. If the local government is allowing you to open your facilities or not, what are their rules? Then we keep into mind what the industry is doing, what are the industry guidelines, what's the industry standard is. Then we look at the what are temporary policies we're going to look, maybe temporary policies we're going to adapt right now, what safety measures we're going to take, and keep in mind some of these things, some of these safety things, you will, some of the organizations, some of the hotels, some of the clubs will take it further and make it permanent policies because it's that useful. And we have done a few of those things, we have adapted a few of those things in our organization. We've improved our check-in process, which was a little bit fluid, but I think we are taking this as an opportunity to improve our existing standard operating procedures, you know, uh, and especially in housekeeping. The housekeeping director and myself, we have a 2-hour meeting every single day because we want to enhance on this opportunity and implement those changes that are required by COVID. But I think we want to make them part of our everyday culture at the club. So yeah, great question. Yes, we are, and I think right now you cannot do enough. You cannot clean enough. You cannot do enough. We are doing it as we speak and coming up with more strategies how to keep people apart, 6 people apart, whatever it is. So yeah, it I think the best thing here it is some of the things we'll pick up and we'll make it permanent for the organization and ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, now that you brought up the thing about your meeting with housekeeping, I was about to ask you how important is it? What's the role of facilities management and maintenance and housekeeping in club upkeep? Because it is becoming a very, very big issue nowadays about cleanliness, hygiene, sanitation. So the focus is there. So we are encouraging our students to become multi-skilled and have knowledge about facilities management and housekeeping processes. So do you also inculcate that in your club activities?
Yes, sir. Certainly. So I come from a food and beverage background, and when I take upper management role, I'm overseeing the housekeeping director. So I probably have more vast knowledge, to guide him in the right direction to make the best decisions for the club. It is so important, guys, to pick up more skills, more knowledge for other departments as well, because when you move up, you will be supervising. If you are the food and beverage manager, you'll be supervising the front office manager, and you will be their boss. So you will need that knowledge to coordinate things. So it's important to keep in knowledge of what entails in a food and beverage manager's job, plus as a food and front office manager's job. And it is vitally important. As far as the cleaning and maintenance and everything is concerned, I think we I've spent more time with the housekeeping director and the chief engineer and the maintenance director in the last 3 months than I've ever did. Certainly because we've had to come up with new strategies, we've had to come up with new protocols. Um, we've had to do some facility changes, we had to do some equipment changes, we had to invent something, we had to make something, we had to buy a lot of stuff. So um, from an operational perspective, we had to had the knowledge and understanding. It was very new to all of us, it was very fluid situation. um, Local government rules were changing every day. So yeah, it's important, it's very, very important. Yep.
Thank you, Abhishek, for answering that. Okay, anything else
Yes,
that comes to your mind, student, that you could possibly inquire about? We have almost 120 people here, out of which 100 are students, and only 2 of you have asked questions. So all of you are.
guys, yeah, ask me questions. I promise you, there's no stupid questions to say, right?
Yeah, there's no such question as a stupid question. Everything is allowed, kind, as long as you're not talking vulgar stuff, it's fine. Yeah, so please don't feel shy. Ask questions if you have any. This is a golden opportunity. We don't get to speak to people from San Francisco who are 13 hours behind us in time every day. So grab this opportunity and ask about all of you students who wanted to go to the US for your internships and stuff. Why do quiet? I mean, you are the ones who should be shooting out the most questions.
Ma'am, is there a lot of students considering going to the UK?
Yes, every year, and now the numbers are increasing. Abhishek, um, that is there are flip sides to both.
For sure.
The students have been looking at it. I don't know whether I should go on record saying this, but they have been looking at it as skipping the intense skill development training that happens in India. So you're not looking at broadening the horizon. It's not just about, but it's an escape, which I don't like actually.
Okay.
Nothing should be an escape route. Yes, if you're going abroad to gain more, take more, that is what I think is much more desirable than, okay, in India, there is a lot of hard work, so I go to US, it becomes
No,
easier. Is that the
it does.
Abhishek?
It does not. No, ma'am. Let me clarify this right now, guys. If you think coming to the US or going to the UK, you're getting away from hard work, you will. It's a myth. I don't know who invented that, but that is always a myth. Even though I was a general manager, I was working 50, 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, sometimes without a day off. And that's the industry we are in, guys. It's there is nothing called not hard work. You whether it be I've worked in three different continents and I've never seen a difference in all three places, guys. It's not an escape route. If that's what you're looking for, it is not. And let me clear this out. If you want to escape route, yeah, that's fine. Keep working 8 hours a week and you'll be at an entry level position, and that's a choice you're making. But if you want to move up, I don't think it's an escape route, guys. I really, really do not think if that's why you're going to UK to study, don't do it. Don't waste anybody's money. Stay in India. But if you want to work hard, if you want to open your horizon, if you want to succeed in this industry, I highly recommend you guys are lucky. PS post study work is back, and which is awesome, which is a great motivating factor. I took advantage of it. I got that 2 years. In that 2 years, I not only paid my financial, I take care of my financial things I had to take care of, but I also made a big inroads in my career, which are still helping me till now. I worked at the McDonald hotels and helped with the Open Championship in 2013. And the first question the general manager asked me here in the Olympic Club was, "How was your experience there?" I mean, that was how many years ago, but so I cannot stress enough how much important it is. Take advantage when you can, and it's very rewarding, guys. I'm telling you, follow the right path. The industry is very, very rewarding industry.
Thank you, Abhishek, for your input on that. And also, I would just like to mention here, and this is to the students who are watching actually. Most of them have not looked at the study part of it. They haven't looked at the academic enhancement. They're just looking at, how to go out of India for any catching on to job. Whereas enhancement of qualification always adds on. So J1 visa, the interested parties have gone up because 6 months, yes, you stay abroad, and then there are a lot of ways you can get on to stay there for a longer period. And thinking that this gives you a easy way out, so that has been on the students mind for most of them. But whereas if you go to enhance your qualification, that stays with you forever. And as you see, within what I would say from Abhishek's growth, within a span of 6 to 7 years, he has gone to that height, which maybe people would take maybe 15 years, 16. And as he was saying, the club managers there are around 60. So, I mean, compared to his age. So, I think that is what your additional qualification, studying a little more, that I think has value, and you cannot change that. That definitely adds value.
I
Uh,
second that. I second that. Yeah.
any other questions, students? You can go on and ask about America. I'm not going to do anything about it. Come on.
Yeah, how's America? It's great. Nobody likes Trump here. I'm in California.
You are in a Democrat state, yeah.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi is God here. She's
Okay, and in general about your life in the US when you first went there, like just not just work, social life, and the kind of people you met. How did it make you feel? I mean, living on your own and doing things on your own in a much more independent manner and stuff, which I'm sure you learned while you were in the UK as well. So,
yeah.
so how is it being on your own in a foreign land?
Mr. Chatterjee, I've interacted with a lot of social people here in the US. if I if I'm the smartest person in that room, I don't go back to that room. I put myself with, because I feel like I surround myself with people who have done a lot, who have a lot of experience. I hang out with people who have done great for themselves, so I can just get a little bit from everybody, enhance my knowledge and experience. I used to the board president that the last board president I worked in Texas. He was an entrepreneur and he started a pharmaceutical company and he had about 1100 employees in his company. So I used to be around it. I wanted to be around him as much as I could because every time he said something and did something, there was something golden about it. And I wish I could write it down somewhere. And so, I mean, I surrounded myself with people like that and, still in here as well. And the people that I have it, get opportunities to go out, but it's the choices you make. I feel like it comes down to the choices you make. And I do my I love sports, and I started playing tennis here because it's part of the country club. And I get to hang out with the financial controller. He's from Turkey and he has a great knowledge because I feel like I can improve my financial knowledge. We have $4 million operating budget here, so we go and play tennis so I can talk to him about the financials because he finds it boring when I go to his office, so we'll just interact it over a game of tennis. So yeah, that's how my life is.
Yeah, that's a big plus of living in the US. I think you get to interact and meet with people from all across the world because it's the migrants who have made the country what it is today. So there's so much diversity, so much interaction happening with people from all corners of the globe. That's a big thing, I think. Yeah. So that's
It's
cosmopolitan
huge.
culture makes you even more, even better as a
It's
person.
huge.
Mm.
Huge, and
So what
it
I
teaches you a
appreciate,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, I think what I appreciate is what Abhishek is saying, that you need to become like a sponge. You need to absorb everything that's happening around you, and then only you grow. It's not just one source. From everything that happens around you, you need to just take things. Abhishek, I just saw in your CV that you have you have this achievement of servicing in a rugby match. Yeah, it was a food and beverage event, I think,
Yeah.
and that was a huge number of people in 45 minutes.
So yeah. So again, I became friends. I don't know how I become friends with all these people. I don't know how it happened, but I became friends with. He was the general manager of the rugby stadium in Scotland, in Edinburgh. So they don't need staff all around the year. The Six Nations rugby was on, and England was playing Scotland that day. And he called me up, and he's like, and I was working at the Marine Hotel that was about 45 minutes away. And he was, we need staff, and I said, yeah, I'll come and help you. So we went there in the morning. We had a morning briefing. It was an unbelievable experience. And when sitting there, and we had about 1,100 staff, everybody had tasks to do. We had coffee and a bacon roll in the morning, as the British people do. Bacon roll, they love that, you know. And after that, we had the drinks reception. The game was about to start, and we were briefed, and I was one of the managers that we're gonna have to set this in 45 minutes. I said what? We're gonna set up for lunch in 45 minutes and serve how many people? He said 1,400 people. I said, so you're telling me we're gonna set up tables and chairs in 45 minutes and serve lunch for 1,400 people? I said, that's impossible. We can't do that. I cannot tell you. I I was one of the managers and I was guiding people, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And I went back and I helped him out for another. I think Scotland was playing Italy the next game, so it was a great experience. Yeah, and what I learned from that when I came back to the hotel was we need to be more organized, guys. I just saw something, and it was just like I just saw fire being invented, and we are not doing it right. So it was one of a great experience. Yeah.
Good. And one funny question: was Trump the reason you left Texas for California?
No, I don't think because well, I'll tell you the real reason. I was a big Cowboys fan and they didn't do nothing. So I came to San Francisco, and the 49ers just won the Super Bowl last
Oh,
year.
good.
So yeah, that's why I came here. The Cowboys didn't do nothing for me in
No,
Texas.
that's just a funny question. Yeah. It's almost going to be almost midnight your time now. So what time do you normally go to bed?
I'm already in bed because we have a 7 o'clock executive meeting every single day on
Oh,
Zoom.
we are holding you up from your.
That'll be good.
So I guess there is no more questions from the students. They have been quite for some time. So assume that there's no more questions from. And that was really a wonderful session. It has actually opened up a lot of thoughts for us as well, and it will help us to guide the students better in future. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for coming up to me, ma'am, that I'm going to do it.
Yes, of course.
That
I
was
want to. I
wonderful.
want
And
to because IAM taught me a lot, and I was from a very small town in Missouri. I came to Calcutta, and I was like, I still remember the day I came to Howard Station, and I was like, where did these people come from? What's going on? What's going on? And I was lost. So I still remember that day, and my mom and dad dropped me off, and I cannot thank IEM family enough, Maitri ma'am and Kushal sir and Piali ma'am and everybody else. You know, you guys have made me what I am, and I owe you a lot. And I want to give back to IEM for helping me reach here, and I always will. Okay.
thank you so much, Abhishek. And just let me tell you, we are on Facebook Live as well. And a lot
Okay.
of your friends are commenting, especially the ones who have been to Edinburgh with you, like Milan Sharma and all. They are all saying that we would also like to be there one day. So you have opened up a new avenue for all
And
of us.
I have, I have. Good luck, ma'am, with coordinating that.
You can play this recording back on Facebook, and you can watch the video again of what we did today
Yes, sir. I will.
sometime. Yeah.
Okay, well, all the best, students, for your third year. I wish you all the best. If there's anything I can answer, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll respond when I can. But, ma'am, thank you so much. Kushal, sir, thank you so much. And let me know if I can be of any help in the future.
Thank you
Thank you. Thank
very
you.
much, Abhishek. And keep growing. Keep
Thank you,
doing
ma'am.
well. All the
Thank
best to
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night. Good night, Abhishek.
Good night.
And before you go, are your folks all happy and healthy in India, wherever they are, your parents?
Yes, everybody's good. Yeah, everybody's fine and happy and healthy. Yes, sir.
Good, 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 good. Do they ever visit you?
No, I think not right now. Not right now.
No, later perhaps.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So as
Later,
long as
perhaps.
everybody's happy and healthy, it's fine, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
Okay,
right.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Good night.
Okay.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night. Bye.